It's 2026, and what did you see all last year? Constantly, you saw that they were doing cuts with jobs, layoffs. The government did Doge, which was they cut a bunch of government funding, a bunch of government programs, which led to a bunch of jobs being cut for everyday working class people like me and you. But imagine you had one job, right? And you had a mortgage, you have a house, you have a family, you have a kid, and maybe even a dog. And you get laid off from that one job and you don't have savings or extra income, or even if you do have savings, let's say you're laid off for more than 6 months to a year, you're gonna start scratching your head and you're gonna feel stressed. So in today's video, I'm gonna talk about how you can start gaining additional income outside of your regular job, right? If it's passively or even semi-passively, okay? So one of the first things is no matter what income source you have, you should be constantly investing, right? The reason why I say you should be constantly investing is because throughout the past at least decade or throughout time, the people who owned assets are things that increase their value over time. What do I mean by this, right? So you might buy a house for 50K 20 years ago, and now it's worth 400K. So you didn't do anything, but now you can sell that house for way more money, and now you have extra income in your pocket. Versus, let's say, a car. You just have a regular car and you bought it for 100,000. Okay? If you bought a Lamborghini for 100,000, in 5 years, it might be worth 50K. So now you're going to sell it for less, meaning that's a liability because it's taking money out your pockets and it's not growing in value. So you always want to be investing in assets, things that grow over time. And then there's another set of assets that will pay you because you're holding that. So that could be a dividend stocks, okay? So dividend stocks. You have a company like Apple. They make tons of money every single year and they don't know what to do with that money. So instead, what they'll do is they'll pay to their shareholder a small percentage. And so I have a crypto Bitcoin investing channel, right? And so one of the biggest things that I've seen that came out recently that a lot of people don't know about is called Strike, STRC. So this is a ETF, right, by MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor, he's one of the biggest Bitcoin holders. But the interesting part about this, you can buy for anywhere from $100. It fluctuates from like maybe 98 to like 102, and it pays you 10%. So let's say it's $100 and you hold it for a year. That means you get paid $10, okay? But let's say you buy more than one share. You buy $1,000 worth of shares. So now you get paid $100. Let's say you buy 10,000. Now you get paid 1,000. Let's say you have 100,000 there. Now you get paid 10,000 a year. But you say you get paid 10,000 one year, then year two you get paid another 10,000. That's 20,000 you got paid just for holding it, right? And over time, if you keep on growing that could additionally replace your income. But let's say even you had an extra 10, 20,000 that you saved and kept on reinvesting it. What you will see is that even if you got laid off from that job, you still have that extra income. And even if you're not that into Bitcoin or crypto, there's other companies that pay dividends that still grow tons of value. So like Apple, they pay a small dividend. Microsoft pay a small dividend. It's not really that big, but at the same time, you're going to be growing and growing and growing. What do I mean? So the stock might be $100 and then in a few years it's $200. But at the same time, you're still getting a small percentage getting paid back to you, which grows your portfolio income all the time. So let's say you don't want to invest in companies, you don't want to invest in crypto-backed products. You have another thing called a REIT. What happens when you have a mortgage? So an investor will buy an apartment complex, and let's say their mortgage for that whole apartment complex is, let's say, $10,000. But they have so many people living in there that they get $20,000 every single year. So now they have $10,000 profit. But what a REIT will do, you can buy it on the stock market. And so what the REIT do, when they have that extra $10,000, they will pay it back to the investor. So that's another form of dividend income. So you, instead of you actually going out and buying the property, you can buy ETFs or REITs that are investment portfolios where they give a percentage of the rents back to the shareholder. So that's another income source. But the thing is, you have to be investing in these and buying these while it's low and while you actually have income. So by the time if you want to retire or if you get laid off, you have additional income, right? And this is not financial advice. This is just entertainment purposes. I'm just a guy in his apartment that has been investing for tons of years. So apart from that, since we're talking about REIT, another form of investments you can do is rental properties. So let's say you actually are a high income earner or you have a job right now. See, when people think about investment properties, they think, oh, I don't have enough money for that, right? But I know people who even gone to the Midwest where like the average house might be 100,000, 200,000. Okay. If you can get a house for 100,000, maybe you only put down 10,000, 20,000. But the thing is, when the house property is that low, the mortgage might only be like 300, 500, but you can get 1,000 in rent. So that's an extra 700 back into your pocket, right? And so that's another form of income. But on top of that, what you do get other than that rental income is you get tax breaks. So when you get tax breaks, now you have more money coming to your pocket every single year. And so without you doing anything, okay? And now you can reinvest that into maybe a growth stock. You can invest that into Bitcoin, or you can invest that into an income product, okay? And so over time, what you're gonna see is gonna compound, and now you have more money back in your pocket to protect you for a rainy day. Another form of ways you can get income is start an online presence, anything. It doesn't have to be YouTube. It can be TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. All these platforms will figure out a way to pay you, even LinkedIn. See, you don't know. You have some specialty or some passion that someone is willing to pay you or someone's so interested in, right? So let's say your career, let's say you're a software engineer, let's say you're a cloud engineer, you're in cybersecurity. Trust me, there's tons of guys right now who want to learn how to get into that field to increase their income, and they're willing to pay you money to learn about that. If you have a high profile LinkedIn, what you're going to see is random people will message you just asking you how you got to where you are. So now let's say you start a YouTube channel about how you got into that career field. It might not take off over time right away, but over time, what you'll see, it will grow and grow and grow. And now, one, you get money from ad revenue. Two, you get money from products. So products, it can be, you can sell a course, how to get into that career field, or you can sell a school community where you have a bunch of people that learn from you every single week on a subscription model, kind of like Netflix. But you are the person teaching, so you are the star. You are the TV show person, right? So you have your own product. Apart from that, you can do high ticket sales. So maybe someone might pay you $10,000 for a boot camp or for individual coaching to teach you how to get into that career field, right? So, and the thing is, or you can sell a digital product, which will passively make you money. See, you're gonna put a lot of work up front, but over time, what you're gonna see is that it's gonna pay off. And these are just a bunch of different ideas. Even if it's not career, that's not your passion, you don't want to talk about that. Maybe you go to the gym, you're constantly in fitness. People are willing to pay you to learn that. Or even how to start a business. People are willing to pay you to learn that. So whatever your interest is, I've seen people blow up from travel videos. If you know about traveling, maybe people start paying you for consultation. Whatever your passion is, just build something around it and start an online presence. Another thing is all these things I said before do take some type of work, but you have income, you're already working. So you want to start thinking about how to develop that income to save you when you are not working or when you want to retire. But one thing that you should do is you should have savings. You should have an emergency fund, right? So ideally, you want, out of whatever your situation is, have 3 to 6 months worth of saving, but where are you going to put that in? So you have options. You can put it in Bank of America, PNC, Chase, all these regular traditional bank accounts. But what they do, they don't pay you that much for having your money in their savings account. They might pay you 0.00001%. They basically pay you pennies on the dollar. But there's high yield savings account. So what is this? There's banks such as SoFi, Ally, right? I'm not sponsored by them, but I've been using them for years. And so what they'll do is you can put your money in their savings account and they will pay you maybe 4%, 3% off of whatever you have in there, right? It fluctuates based off of interest rates, but that's still 4% that you're gaining from doing nothing, from basically a risk-free environment, because that's your savings account. You're saving regardless, right? And that value doesn't go up and down unless you take out the money, right? So look into a form of high yield savings account so you can passively get money and rewarded just for keeping your money in their bank accounts. A few other things, right, is you can start a consulting company, okay? So back to the cybersecurity example, right? Maybe you don't want to start an online presence. Maybe you can go on Fiverr, Upwork, sell your skills. So for example, I had to write some software before in the past and I couldn't figure it out. So what I do, I went to Fiverr, Upwork, hired someone to do that software for me, and then I used that software, okay? So you can if you're highly specialized or you have a skill, think about how you can start making money from that skill outside of your work. So maybe even if you don't have a skill, maybe you can start looking at government contracts, right? So now you're starting your own business outside of work, right? I've seen government contracts where people just go in and get the laundry. So you hire someone to get the laundry and do the laundry, but you're like the middleman between the government and that company, okay? Even apart from that, there's other stuff you can look at, like maybe you have a vending machine. Vending machines, maybe you're a vending machine in a corporate building. People are always going to be hungry. They're going to want small stacks of $1. Over time, it will add up, right? I know people who have vending machines that if it's in a high traffic area, they could make $500 to $1,000 per month. The problem is finding a location, getting an agreement, getting the contracts. But that's the work you put up front. So on the back end, you're always getting money. So once you have one vending machine that's getting you 500, you get a second one getting you 500, third one getting you 500. That's an extra $1,500 per month, right? And now you can have an LLC, a business. You can start writing off. So now you are playing the system. You're gaining the system. So if you guys like this kind of content, tell me what you guys want to see next, and check out this video right